Okay. Since we have a quorum, we'll get started. And so we'll start with roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Campisi.
Here.
Commissioner Chabot is absent. Commissioner Cho.
Here.
Commissioner Edwards.
Here.
Commissioner Garcia.
Here.
Commissioner Huynh. Oh, he did come in.
Here.
Noting the absence of Commissioner Wong, Commissioner Lewin is here. Great. Commissioner Mao.
Here.
Commissioner Oskan.
Here.
Commissioner Sorgan.
Here.
Commissioner Tagboy.
Here.
Is great. Commissioner Weiss.
Here.
Let's see, Vice Chair Ramcharan.
Here.
And Chair Reeds.
Here.
Okay, so we do have a quorum. Just again, want to note the absences of Commissioners Chabot and Huang.
Okay. And then with that, we'll do the salute to the flag. Okay. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and then with that, we'll move on to item D. So to approve the order of the agenda. So is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Who was the second? Okay, thank you.
Do I need a formal vote?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Need to take a vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. And then we'll move on to our blue folder items, but I don't think we have any.
That's correct. We have none this evening.
Okay, so then we'll just move on to that and then move on to the consent calendar. And so there's the approval of the minutes for February 5th. And so is there a motion to approve those?
Sure. So there's two in the consent calendar. So if anyone would like to pull either the minutes like you discussed or the affidavit of posting. Otherwise, we can do one motion to approve both at the same time.
Okay, so is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Okay. Can I just ask who the second was?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm used to only two voices with the motion, so
Yeah.
forgive me tonight. Thank you.
Okay, and then I don't think there's any exclude consent calendar items.
Correct.
And so then we'll move on to item H, which is public participation on non-agenda items.
Yeah. So we do have one. Rick McQuillan would like to speak, and then we'll turn it over to anyone else in the audience.
Good evening, everyone. Looks like the commission has grown. Sure. I'm Rick McQuillan. I live and work in Manhattan Beach, and I'm a fan of Redondo Beach. And I'm a local tech guy, semi-retired. I'm now working on projects for our community, especially technology projects. And I'm just generally interested in engaging with students on tech careers and careers in general, software development, AI impacts on business and life. I like to talk with people about careers, technology, and how AI is evolving. So I visited Redondo Union on February 9th. Amandine Schott invited me to speak to the Entrepreneurship Club, saw Vincent there. He's on my short list. Then I presented at Career Day last week. I had an opportunity to talk about careers in computer software engineering, which I've spent a lifetime doing around South Bay too, Northrop, American Honda, et cetera, all kinds of places. And I had the opportunity to co-speak with Ella Klug's father, Michael Klug, who's the CEO of a little aerospace company in Smoky Hollow in El Segundo, and I met Ben Wakefield and others, so I had a very rewarding experience there, and I hope to do it again. One of the projects I'm still working on is the CRTesia app, which is an improved community experience. I want to pilot this on Artesia Boulevard and around the beach cities, and then we'll get it working here, and then we'll leverage it to other places. And right now I've backtracked on that app to leverage AI more. It doesn't do everything. So first, to accelerate technical development, specifically software development, is it going to take over all these jobs? There's no way. That's a long story, but it's very helpful for that. And also I'm using it as part of the app itself to improve what the app does and the user experience. And then I'm adapting to the new ways that AI is affecting the whole business environment surroundings. For example, with this app, software shopping agents in AI can make a big difference. So I'll possibly get this usable later this year, and then I'm going to want some student participation for rollout and testing, and possibly some technical and creative work and community relations. So I'm hoping it could be a fun and rewarding project. So I'm just staying in touch, and feel free to contact me if you have opportunities for me to engage with youth on these subjects. Let me know and I'll try to participate. I am rick@mcqcorp.com. Since I have a little time, I love quotes and poetry and prose. So let me leave you with a quote from St. Francis of Assisi. He said, "Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and pretty soon you're doing the impossible." Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience that'd like to speak? Okay. Is there anyone online? Okay, we have no one online, so we can close public participation.
Okay. And then I don't think there's any items continued from previous agendas.
Correct. Yes.
And so then we'll move on to item J1, which is the presentation from the Financial Services Department.
Yes, so I'll just do a brief introduction of this item. We do have a presentation for you tonight. So as you remember at last month's meeting, we had a presentation from our Public Works Department on the e-bikes and bike lanes throughout the city. To kind of continue along with that series, we invited a representative, is actually our director of our finance department, Stephanie Meyer. She'll be presenting to you and giving you an overview of our financial department within the city and kind of ways that that ties into the Youth Commission and how the Youth Commission can support the upcoming budgetary discussions and even strategic plan, which is later on our agenda. So with that, I will turn it over to Stephanie.
Good evening, commissioners. I'm excited to be here tonight to share some information with you about our city budget and about our financial processes and how you can be involved. So you can go ahead. So I'll try and keep this pretty brief, and if you have questions, feel free to go ahead. So I'll talk a little bit about our city budget, where the money comes from that we spend on all the things here. What do we spend it on? So what do we mostly use this for in the city? How can we get more money to do more programs? Who decides what we spend it on? And then finally, how you and anyone else actually can participate. So to start out, the budget is really, it's a city spending plan. It shows what we're going to use the city's resources for during the year. And it's also a statement of the city's priorities. So what this shows when council is making decisions is what they believe is important and what they believe is important for the residents of the city. We have to balance the budget by city charter. That means we cannot spend more money than we take in. So we look really closely at what revenue we expect to receive in the year. And then when we set our spending budget, we're not allowed to spend over that budget. So as your liaisons here will tell you, if they try to spend something in excess of their budget, it gets rejected and they can't do it. So the budget is actually very important, and to spend more than that, we have to have council approval. So we have a revenue and an expenditure budget. It's the amount we expect to receive in total and what we were able to spend. We also look at the budget throughout the year. So as Kelly mentioned, we're gonna have some opportunities to do that coming up. We're going to City Council in 2 weeks on the 17th to look at our budget and spending through December. And then we're going to start budget discussions shortly. We also report to our Budget and Finance Commission quarterly on our revenue and spending. And then finally, just a high-level view of our budget. The total city budget for our current year, which is July 1st through June 30th of 2026, is $225 million. And the largest portion of that, almost 115, is in our general fund. So it's a pie chart showing the city's total funds. We have different kind of funding types throughout the city. Put a little square there around our general fund. It's our largest single source. It's the one we tend to pay most attention to and care about the most because we can spend it on anything. So many of our other funds have restrictions. So we get the funds from specific sources like for transit funding or parks projects. And we can only spend it on those specific items. We also have enterprise funds that are kind of run like a business. So this is our transit fund, our harbor funds, sewer funds. And again, we can only spend that money on those specific items. But our general fund is for general city services, and we can really allocate it any way we choose. So where does the money come from? Our largest source is taxes. There's a variety of these taxes I'll put in the next screen. We also have fees for city services. So for example, if you've ever done recreation programs or after-school programs, those are city fees. That comes to the city and helps fund the programs. We have fines and permits. Those are a little different because, well, those are a little different. I won't go into it. It doesn't matter. But so, for example, if you get a parking ticket, that money will go to the city. And then we have various other charges for city services. We also invest the city's money that we're not actively using. We'll get an investment return on that. And then we can use that for city operations as well. And then finally, external funding sources are very important for us. We have grants, we have some dedicated donations, and we'll also get funding from potentially the federal government, the state government, the county. So these are really important for us to get programs done. So this is, again, kind of a graphical representation of our revenue sources. This is, again, for the general fund, and you'll just see here taxes make up the largest single portion of our funding, about 70%. So who pays this money? The biggest one, again, is taxes. I put a little square here around homeowners because property taxes are our largest single revenue source and also kind of our best revenue source. Property taxes increase with the values of homes, and those continue to appreciate here, which is great. If any of your parents own homes, tell them thank you. Those taxes that I'm sure they love paying help provide city services. If you don't own a home, you are still contributing a lot to our city. So if you do any shopping in Redondo Beach, we get a portion of the sales tax from anything you buy here. Utility companies pay taxes to the city, which we can use. If you own a business, businesses pay business license taxes to the city. And then finally, anyone who comes to stay in our hotels also pays a tax that the city can keep. For our fines and kind of these other charges, this is anyone who uses services in the city. I'd like to point out for our fees, most of them, we can only charge the amount it costs to provide the service. So the city's not here to make money. We're not here to make a profit. We're here to provide services. So for example, the after-school programs or these fees that I mentioned earlier, we can only charge as much as it costs to run the program. And in a lot of cases, city council chooses to charge less. We like to, our goal again is not to make money. Our goal is to provide services. And then for grants and external funding, we get these from other governments or other agencies. So then how do we spend it? We have two kind of major areas. We have operations. So those are people. It's my salary. It's all the salary for anyone who works for the city. We have our general services. So sometimes we don't provide the services ourselves. We hire consultants or hire other organizations. We pay them to provide city services, and then we just have our regular supplies. We need paper, we need pens, we need furniture. So a small portion, we buy those as well. And then we also have a large portion of the city budget for capital projects. So this would be spending on our parks, to rebuild our streets, to build and repair city buildings. So overall, again, here's our general fund. What you'll notice is our personnel and fringe together. Those are everyone's salary and benefits for everyone who works for the city. And you can tell that is a very large portion of what we spend money on. Our next largest one on here is actually internal services. And this is money that we set aside to pay for the city's vehicles, the city's equipment, the city's insurance costs that are we spend it on ourselves. We have to put money aside for it. And all of our other sources are a bit smaller. Also, just have a spending by department. So as you may or may not know, the city is organized into different departments. Each one is responsible for different items. And so each one is allocated a budget and they manage their own budget. What you'll notice here, we have a couple outliers. The police department is by far the largest, followed by Public Works and the fire department. These generally reflect that those departments have more employees than anybody else. The police has by far more police officers than anyone else. And then our police and fire personnel our benefits tend to be a little bit more expensive. And then Public Works, in addition to having a lot of staff, they do a lot of maintenance and pay for utilities and do kind of those really basic structural things, and those cost a lot of money. So how do we get more revenue? I would love us to have more revenue all the time. But we have somewhat limited means. We can increase our taxes or fees. So again, these are difficult decisions for our city council to make, right? Because we would like to have more resources to use for the city to provide services, but we also want our city to remain affordable. And we also do not want to have our residents face high taxes. So if we wanted to, we can't increase all our taxes, but we have a few items like sales tax or our hotel tax where we can propose increasing these. We have to bring that to a vote. California state law requires that any tax increase has to go to voters, and 50% of Redondo Beach residents have to approve a tax increase. We can also increase our fees. Again, for a lot of these, this is limited to cost of service. We're not making money. But again, if we want to increase those because we're not really covering our costs, we'll present that to City Council and they can approve that. We can also provide new or more services. Again, we charge for those and there's some, usually offsetting costs that can increase our revenue. And we can also try and expand our base. So for example, we may not want to increase costs for businesses, but we want to bring in more businesses. If we have more there, we'll have more business license tax, maybe more sales tax revenue. And then finally, we can look for external funds. This is something that I think our city is quite good at, especially for funding our capital programs. So it takes some work, but we can go out and look for additional external funding sources, especially for specific projects that we'd like to fund. And then who decides? The answer is City Council. It's the people who normally sit up here in our meetings. So in the annual budget, the council looks at each year. They make decisions on everything that the city will spend. Our city manager, along with city staff, proposes items. So we work together to figure out kind of what the city needs, how to meet council priorities that council has shared with us. And then for any new items, we'll present that to our city council through things called decision packages or budget response reports. And then council, those are kind of the main items that council will review when they look at our budget every year. Council then has to agree on them by a majority vote, and the items that they approve receive funding. Council also looks at new items throughout the year. So if we get new revenue, if we have a new expense come up, we'll then present that to City Council and they'll approve it during the year. So finally, how can you participate? You're already participating through this commission, which is great. You'll get the chance to provide input into the strategic planning process, which is kind of a precursor to the budget. Also for the budget, you'll have opportunities throughout the time that council reviews to participate. So you can write a letter as the commission, as I believe you've done in the past. You can always individually or as a group write to council or come in person to comment on the budget and to give your input on what council should prioritize. There are a few items here coming up. March 17th, we're going to present the current year, how our budget and revenue is looking, and then our budget season starts in May. So we'll do our initial budget presentation May 19th, and then we'll have a series of 3 budget meetings leading up to adoption where you can provide input. And then another great way to be involved is just to get to know the budget. We have a fairly large budget document. I don't know that anybody loves to read it all the way through, but I'd recommend if you're interested, you can take a look. You can look at our city manager's message, which is a really good introduction to the kind of overall view of the budget, of its priorities and major issues. The city manager's message each year also includes a comprehensive list of all the decision packages. So that shows what any new programs that we've proposed adding and council's approved in the year. And then finally, we have budget response reports. This is something where council has a concern or an issue, and they might say, what will it cost to, upgrade the restrooms at this park? What will it cost to start a new program? So as city staff, we'll get together, we'll describe that to them, share how much it costs, and council may choose to fund that. I included a little screenshot of a budget response report about the teen center. This is something council looked at last year and approved some additional funding for additional items that went to the teen center. And then finally, you can look at our capital improvement program document that has a list of all our capital projects and where they are and what's going to happen with them. So that is all I have for you this evening. I'd be very happy to answer any questions.
I was wondering specifically, I know you mentioned the form and going to the meetings where this is discussed, but right now, what could we realistically do in terms of the budget, just like through this discussion? I know last year we wrote a letter or something. I don't remember what that was about specifically, but will we do something similar to that?
Yes, so you can definitely, yes. You definitely can write a letter where you express your priorities, and you can do more general priorities, like we think you should focus on capital, or we think you should focus on youth initiatives or technology. Or if you have a specific item that you're interested in, you can also share that with the city council as well.
Yeah, and if I can also add, I think it's important to note, and Stephanie mentioned this, that periodically throughout the year, something comes up, the council will reevaluate the budget and consider adding things. So it's not a matter of us initiating the conversation with you. Let's say in 2 months, you guys come up with a great idea and you want the council to consider budgeting it. We can still do that. You don't have to wait for that annual review of the budget or discussions for it. So it's really, there's different ways to do it, but it's really up to you guys whenever you have an idea or when we initiate those conversations each year.
So I know earlier in your presentation when you were talking about how when the city council wants to raise taxes, they have to poll the citizens and get their feedback on whether they would approve these tax raises. For other changes, like when you make on the budget finance commission to allocating things, do you always need to poll the general public, or it doesn't always have to go through?
Yeah, good question. So only tax increases have to go to the residents for a vote. And so we do polling where we'll ask, hey, do you think this, would you be likely to vote for this? So for example, for the general obligation bond that the residents passed last year, we hired a polling consultant to ask people how they felt about it. But yeah, only for tax increases. For other items, I think, council members may talk to people in their community to understand how they feel about it. For example, if we're going to raise parking fees, right, or something that really is going to affect a lot of people they may feel strongly about, they'll kind of talk to people more informally. But yeah, only tax increases require a formal vote.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions or anything?
I was just gonna say, I know earlier in your presentation that you mentioned that the city uses some of their money to invest, and I was just wondering how much revenue do you make from investing, and how much of your spending budget do you actually put into that?
That is a really great question. I'm going to tell our city treasurer, he'll be very excited. So our annual revenue right now for our investment returns is about $1.6 million, and about $1 million of that goes to the general fund. And for our investments, we have pretty restrictive investment policy because they're public funds. We have 3 rules. Number 1 is safety, second is liquidity, third is risk. So there's a very kind of limited amount of risk that we're able to take on, but within that, we try and generate revenue. And then in terms of how much we spend, it's general fund, so it just kind of goes into our general pot of money, and we will, we'll spend it. Great question.
Awesome. Okay, so are there any other questions or just anything you want to ask before we wrap this item up? Nope. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming and speaking to us, and we really appreciate your presentation and everything.
Thank you.
Chair, if we can still do public comment, just make sure we don't have any. Is there anyone online yet? Michelle? Okay, we still don't have anyone online. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak or ask any questions on this item? Okay. Okay, so if there's no more questions or if there's no discussions up here, I would need a motion to receive and file the presentation.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right.
Okay. Was the second Commissioner Wynn or Garcia? Wynn? Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then with that, we'll move on to item J2, which is the discussion and action and possible action regarding input suggestions for City Council's consideration for the upcoming strategic planning session.
Yes, so I'll just do a brief introduction for this, and then I'll turn it over to you guys to start discussing. So as Stephanie stated, our city council is going to be doing a strategic plan discussion in the next few weeks. Attached to your agenda item is the current strategic plan. So essentially what that is it's a plan that, attached to your electronic agenda. So it was sent over in your agenda packet. So the strategic plan essentially is a guiding document that provides our city council an opportunity to really start prioritizing, and it really is an informative document to let staff know what we should be spending our time and resources on. What are the projects that the council really wants to accomplish? What are the initiatives that they are looking towards? And then we as staff will use that to kind of help guide how we then approach our workflow. And so strategic plans are typically for anywhere between 6 months to a year. And our city council is scheduled later in March to do a revisit of their current strategic plan, which is the one that's attached online, and consider doing a new updated strategic plan for another 6 months to another year. We're not sure on that time. It'll just be dependent on their discussion in the next few weeks. And so what we wanted to do is provide you all an opportunity to provide any input to the City Council on initiatives or projects or just any types of activities or programs that you would like the Council to consider including in the upcoming strategic plan. And so last year, the Commission did provide input. We did have a letter. I know it's been referenced a few times. There's a very great letter that was drafted by our chairperson at the time, and it described essentially having the City Council allocate some sort of funding or just to be considerate of considering the third space for teens. And then also a little bit more of attention to transportation for the youth. And so I can say that letter was very impactful. In the current strategic plan, there is an item that requests our transit team, which you heard from last month as well. They're actually presenting to our City Council. I don't remember if it's next week on the 10th or the 17th of this month. They are presenting on ways to get youth ridership increase on our beach cities transit. So that presentation is on our strategic plan. So that presentation is because the City Council requested us to do so through the Youth Commission's efforts in the letter. So just know these letters are read and considered by our City Council. And so for tonight, again, we're just looking for you guys, if you have any insight or anything that you would like the City Council to consider, you don't have to have anything. It's really up to you. And then I will end it with there's multiple ways of us sharing that information with the City Council. There's probably the two simplest ways. One is we could all draft another letter. The way that we did it last year is you all elected the chairperson to draft the letter, and then she and I refined it, and then I shared it with council directly. The other way is if you all just want to give me your input tonight, we can frame it into a motion, and then I can then just send a simple email to our city managers team, and they'll make sure that our City Council receives the letter. So it's really up to you all tonight. Just know that whatever we do need to make that final action tonight because we will not meet again before the next strategic plan item. So last time I believe we had an opportunity to bring the letter back to you all to approve, but we won't have that time to do that this year. So with that, I'll turn it over to you. Please feel free to let me know if you have any questions, and I'm here to help any way I can.
Yeah, there's something I wanted to bring up. I was looking in the current strategic plan, and there was something about like public art procurement that I thought was really interesting. Mm-hmm. So this is, I guess, a question posed to like the rest of the council members, but I feel like having some sort of emphasis on like public art or putting money towards something my family talks about a lot, like beautification of like the pier area or like the area right by like, what's that crab like seafood place? I'm forgetting the name.
Quality seafood?
Quality seafood?
No, it's like right by the Redondo Pier. Wait.
Captain Kids?
Captain Kids, yeah, thank you. Like that area, I feel like it's empty, and there used to be like a Ruby's, but it closed down, and I feel like it's such good space to have some sort of, I don't know, like park or like area for the public, but instead I think it's a parking lot, and I don't think you can actually do anything in there. So I thought it would be interesting to maybe think of having some sort of, doesn't have to be youth related, but some sort of public space that has to do with art or like
or just
outdoors
like
thing.
re-examining like how to like best utilize it.
Yeah.
And then I had a question, Kelly. Like, when we like make, if we do make a letter like advising like what to do, is it us asking like city council like take specific action, or is it just asking like, oh, like reevaluate this, like consider this, or is it like?
It really could be both. The strategic plan is not. It's not necessarily an opportunity for the council to say, we want a new park, let's say we want a whole new playground at Dominguez Park. In order to do that, you have to allocate funding. You don't do that through strategic plan. So the strategic plan would then be readjusted if that was the case to say, what is the feasibility and cost of doing a new playground at Dominguez Park? And then we as staff would then put that together. We would present different options to the city council at a completely different meeting, and then that's where they would decide, do we want to allocate funding to it? So to answer your question, it's not, you're not really through the strategic plan trying to get the council to provide funding for anything. You're just trying to get them to get to the point where they have all the information that they need to then provide budget for an item at a later date.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, like kind of
There's
like,
no simple answer.
is it like kind of like taking the initiative to like bring it, that whatever initiative or like issue forward to city council so that they can like examine it and decide how they want to proceed with it?
Sure. So for example, in the letter last year, it wasn't specific to say we want the council to create third spaces in these locations. I think it mentioned the pier. I think it mentioned one other location, but it was basically saying that the teens, the youth commission really supports the council's initiatives that would help create third spaces for teens to enjoy throughout the city. And so it can be that broad enough, and then the council can then use that to determine how that request can fit in with what their priorities are, and then we as staff can respond to that.
Okay. I think one thing that we've really been like focusing on lately is like e-bike and like how best to like do stuff surrounding e-bikes in Redondo. And so like I think it might be interesting to like add something where it's like researching or like examining how best to like improve like not only like conditions for e-bikers, but also like how to like best integrate it like within our community so that it like benefits everyone. Like,
Yeah, I mean, when you know what you're saying about how we should, improve like e-bike safety, or I think that's what you're getting at, right?
yeah.
I think one way we could address that is, this might seem simple, but perhaps polling the community and seeing what their intake is between, and we maybe have options whether they're drivers, so we know that it's coming from a driver's input, or we put it from an e-biker's perspective, so we can get their input as well, just based on like what they need to feel safe on the road and things like that.
Yeah, so just like researching or like polling like in general and how best to like integrate that and like that like sort of like e-bike safety mindset like within like our community. Yeah.
To kind of add on to that discussion, I was looking through the strategic plan. I noticed in 1.4, this is actually a question from Ms. Orta. It mentioned it's a future goal of revitalizing the PCH corridor, but it doesn't have anything below that. I was wondering if you could tell us what that is and kind of what that is part of the strategic plan. Because I know for bike lanes, of PCH especially, is a busy corridor.
Sure. I'm sorry. You said it was 1.4?
Yes, 1.4 just says future goal, but there's nothing listed underneath.
Oh, sorry,
Oh, I
before
see
before
it
Ms.
here.
Orta answers, I think it says future goal, so I mean, maybe it's because they haven't got to it yet.
Yeah, so as they developed the strategic plan, this likely was one that was important to them, but considering everything else that's already on the plan, they didn't want to overload it with unrealistic expectations here. So yeah, that one's noted as a future goal. So it's really almost just a placeholder so that when they do the review in the next few weeks, they'll look back and say, okay, which ones have we completed? Can we start focusing on this future goal that we identified last round but didn't have the resources to allocate to it?
Okay, thank you very much.
Of course.
I do want to point out one for goal 1.3. This is like very pinpoint specific, but the last line for goal 1.3 was about how they wanted to create a major events group to like work around areas associated with the upcoming LA 28 Olympics. And I mean, I know what it means to me because the last time the Olympics was in LA was like, I think back in the 90s, I believe, maybe even before that. And my mom said she got a lot of memorabilia and stuff. So I feel like we could be a big part in like designing such memorabilia. For example, we could create a sort of like event as it like they're specifying here, where it engages the community to submit designs in perhaps sort of a contest fashion, you know, to help represent Redondo in the Olympics. But yeah, that was just an idea, and I thought that would be really cool if you could be a participant in this.
Yeah, adding on to that, I like the idea of like using like the community to like create memorabilia. Like, you know, like how in elementary school we had like the yearbook design like competitions, like not like that little, but like to that scale, like maybe we could ask like Redondo Union high school or middle school students to submit designs of like, I don't know, like yeah, memorabilia for what the Olympics could be.
To kind of just add one more point onto the discussion, sorry if it's shifting topics a little, but I was looking through the plan. I noticed that in goal 2.2, it talks a lot about mental health. And I think all of us as teens can really realize and analyze what mental health is, especially to our group. So I think if we put in our letter that we supported that strategic goal, I think it would definitely be meaningful.
I want to agree with Priya. I think there's like a Joe's Crab Shack that's just abandoned and it's right around the pier area in the parking lot or something. But I think that encouraging them to focus on the pier area would be really great because it's so close to Redondo. And the teen center is amazing, but I think that it has a younger target audience. So maybe trying to put in like a cafe or a nice place for high school students to study would be really beneficial to our community.
Okay.
Wait, there's public comment. Oh.
Okay, so we can do public comment if you'd like to.
Yeah, so we can move on to public comment.
So if anyone would like to speak, you'll need to come to the microphone and then just say your name.
Hi, I'm Chloe Choi. I was just gonna ask, like, where these like ideas are like coming from, because we're just like jumping topics during this discussion. I just wanted to know like where or like what's like in the plan and stuff.
Did you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Or okay. So what the commission is doing right now is they're giving input to the city council on a larger strategic plan. And the strategic plan, I don't know how many it has, but it has, I think it's over 50 different goals. And so yeah, if you're reading through the plan, it jumps around, and so they're just providing input on different options for consideration.
Is this plan like created by like all you guys, or is this just like based on like community like input and stuff?
Yeah, it's created by the city council, but they create it through the input that they receive from both the community as well as all of our commissions.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay.
I think we have another speaker. Yeah.
All right, hello, I'm Celestino Pache. So Priya mentioned about artistic or adding definitely artistic aspects to places such as the pier or the location where I forgot what it was called already, but where the rubies used to be located. Something of a suggestion could be also adding animals or art pieces of more local species, so animals, different plants as well. And I know there are a couple of murals that incorporate stuff like that, but having more of that so that people around here know what our local species are, what our local plant species are, and having labels like that could be very impactful, both for an educational standpoint, but just so people can really understand a bit more about Redondo Beach.
Okay. And then you talked about how the head chairperson last year like drafted a letter and everything. Like, were you imagining that like we kind of do the same thing this year, where like we draft a letter based on like our discussion and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, we certainly can. We can do either the letter, or you guys can we can confirm your input, and I can just submit something to the city council directly. So it's up to you. I do just want to make sure, though, Chair, if we can, just make sure there's no other public comment.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any other public comment for this item? Okay, and no one else is online. Okay, so there we go. So we can turn it back over to you guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. And so then I guess I was wondering what your guys' input is, and like if you guys wanted to like draft a letter again, or if like our or if like Kelly or someone like would just like kind of summarize like what we talked about and bring that to city council.
Wait, would our letter be like bullet points of everything we talked about, or do we have to focus on one thing?
No, it could be multiple. So what we'll do, regardless of tonight, whatever we do, either the letter or you have me give the information, we will need to, in our motion, confirm what input you would like to include. And I have notes, so I can reiterate those back to you if that's helpful. From there, then we'll just figure out, do you want to have someone on this commission help draft the letter and I can help support that drafting? Or would you just like me to send that information? So it's going to be a two-part item there.
I can say I'd be happy to draft a letter. If everyone has ideas, I can try to do that.
Yeah, and I can help with that too. And then like I just want to like kind of like reiterate like what we talked about today, where we talked about like e-bike like safety and like implementing like just like more research or just like consideration surrounding that idea of like e-bike safety within Redondo, and then also like revitalizing or like figuring out a best use or like beautification for the area you were talking about.
Yeah, like kind of what the two of them said, like maybe focusing more on public art, because I think that's a really great way to utilize space, and we have a lot of empty space that are in like cool areas like right by the water. And then also like I don't know the details of like a cafe, but just the idea of making space more public instead of like private stores where they're right by the water.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Also, I think I wanted to put emphasis on, I know how you guys are talking about like the beautification of like said areas, but we want to make sure that those areas aren't like sites of like vandalization. So we want to make sure that like the city is monitoring these sort of locations when artists are going out and say creating murals and things like that. So, you know, just a thing to think about when having all this like public art discussion.
Okay. And then was there anything else? Like I feel like I'm missing one more.
I know Vincent mentioned the World Cup and the Olympics.
Oh, yes.
The contest for that.
And then on my notes, I also have supporting goal 2.2, which is the mental health response. So, and that's just a general support for continuing that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So those would be the 4 items that I had on my notes.
Okay. So then can I make a motion for...
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Sorry, I have one last idea. I think it also might be helpful to, I mean, I know that we only have this meeting, but maybe in the future too, to have like more students come and talk to us about what they might want to have like us propose, because I know it's like limited to our council, but I don't know, I think someone talked about polling or some sort of like survey to figure out what people want to have us suggest to the city council, but that's just a thought. That has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
I just have, one more question. I was reading goal 2.3 and I saw it was talking about homelessness, and I do see the first box talks about the pallet shelter expansion project. And Kelly, I was just wondering if you knew any more details about what that is.
So if you're, I don't know how familiar you are, but over by Target, over by the mall, there's the pallet shelter, and there's 25 of them currently. And so the city council did provide funding and direction to expand the pallet shelter. I don't remember how many additional pallet beds there would be included. And so, so that action has already been approved. So they're in the process of purchasing and installing and expanding that. So that would be what that item is in reference to.
Thank you.
Of course.
I also wanted to add on with the Olympics. I feel like if we can market Redondo Beach as kind of like the beach city we know and love, the local beach city, I feel like we could bring a good amount of tourism. And as like probably any city, economics matters a lot, especially just budget and funding and bringing in money from various ways. I feel like tourism could be a great one, especially because we're next to the beach and we have great tourist places like Riviera, also King Harbor, just places like that. And I feel like we could just bring our name out to not only like the greater Los Angeles, but places around all of America, but also all the world can know us. If they come to the Olympics, they could also, you know, come and take a dip in the ocean, but also eat some food in, you know, the King Harbor, try quality seafood. That place is great. And just things like that. And we could just get our name out.
Adding on to that, I also know BCT does run from the airport on like the 109 line down to Redondo Beach, so you could also like do something with that.
Sorry to keep this conversation going a little longer.
okay.
I just want to make sure, in case I didn't say this right, but I know you guys are working on the letter, and I'd offer my input as well, and I'd love to help with you guys with that letter as well, if that's possible.
Me as well.
I mean, we could perhaps get a, is it too late to be creating like, I don't know, like subcommittees at this point, or like maybe even small groups?
No, we can, that could be part of the motion. We could create a subcommittee. We can't have more than 7 of you serving on it, so we can do that. Just know that the strategic plan meeting, I should know this. I don't remember if I put it in I didn't put it in my report. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out when the strategic plan discussion will be. Yes. Okay, thank you. So we would need to have the letter completed by, let's see, the meeting is March 31st. So just looking at a calendar, I would say we should have it ready to go by March 23rd. Let's just get, so that gives us a little bit of a buffer there. So just know if you're going to volunteer to serve on the subcommittee, you will need to work together between now and then. That doesn't give you too much time, but it's still a few weeks time. So just want to make sure you have the time and efforts to put towards that. But yes, you can create a subcommittee to do that.
Okay.
Whether would that require like a motion or?
Yeah, so we'd have to do a motion to create that subcommittee, as well as formalize which members will be serving on the subcommittee. And then I would recommend doing a completely separate motion that outlines what you want the subcommittee to draft in the letter. That way it just makes it a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so when we like motion to make the subcommittee, would we motion for everyone that would be on that subcommittee right now, like in that same motion? So like, should we take care of that now if we want to do that?
You can do it in one motion. You could do it in 2. You could do one just to create the subcommittee and then another one for the members, or you could do it in one. It's really up to you, whatever is easier.
Okay, then I'll motion to create a subcommittee that's dedicated to drafting a letter for the strategic plan meeting. Yeah. So is there a second?
Sure.
Second.
I'm sorry, who was the second? Who was the first one that spoke up?
I think that was me.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Great. Okay.
Okay, so let's confirm the members now. If we can do a motion for that.
Yeah, so, like, first can we, like, discuss, like, who wants to serve on it? So, I know, like, Commissioner Reeds wants to serve on it, Commissioner Monbashon wants to serve, and then Commissioner Mao and Vice.
And I would like to serve on that
And
too.
then,
Yeah, and I'd like to join too.
I'll also like to serve.
okay, and then I think that's it, right? Because that's 7.
Commissioner Lewin, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So I have Commissioners Reeds, Ramcharan, Mao, Weiss, Lewin, and Ozkan. Is there anyone else? And when, oh, sorry about that. Okay, so that would be 7. So that would be capacity.
Okay, so then a motion for those on the subcommittee to be Commissioner Reeds, Ramcharan, Lynn, Mao, Oscon, and Vice, right?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Great, okay. And then we need a motion to finalize everything that would be on the letter. And so then there's the Olympics, and then, or like stuff concerning that, and then beautification surrounding that.
Yeah, public art, and then e-bikes, mental health.
And I think that was.
That's it.
Okay, so, okay. Motion for the letter to be concerning the topics of mental health, e-bikes, beautification and public art, and the Olympics.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
I also would like to ask Ms. Orta, for this subcommittee, since it's kind of like a temporary kind of like issue where we were going to be just drafting this letter and sending it right off, would this subcommittee be immediately dissolved right after?
Yeah, so at the next meeting, we would dissolve it.
Okay. And then do we need a motion to just move on to item J3, or do we just?
No, because we already approved the desires to include in the letter.
Okay. So then with that, we'll move on to item J3, which is Commission Subcommittee and Appointments Update. And so is there anyone from the Communications or Events Subcommittee? That that wants to speak about like anything that they've done in between this meeting and the last meeting?
I've just had an idea, if I can share, about the teen center, and something we could add to that is me and some of my friends went there the other day, and I know my sisters went there too, and we were just realizing there's not really like any like food options that they really sell there. So we were wondering maybe if they could put a vending machine, or maybe we could actually have like the people in the front actually sell like a cup of noodles or stuff like that, and it could make some money, and it could also make it a little more like a better place.
Okay, we can share that with our team as they would look to expand programming.
Well, sorry, I thought they already had like free food on several days. Don't they have like options
Yeah.
for snacks?
I know they do have, like, every once in a while they'll give out like some like slushies or something, but I was thinking we could have like a more permanent, like consistent way to get food.
That's fine.
I think like expanding on this kind of idea of like food inside the teen center, idea could be, I think I might have brought this up at like a previous committee meeting, but it's where we or the city helps, facilitate outreach with local businesses like food shops to come in and, have their marketing team, promote their business inside the teen center. I'm not sure if that's like, again, inside the city's jurisdiction to be doing that with the teen center, but I guess that's an idea to help, get local businesses' names out there, and also, give like a tasty treat to like all the students.
Yeah, potentially, definitely. So if you are a member of the Teen Center Subcommittee, these are all amazing suggestions. So at your next meeting, it'd be great if you guys consider some of these, and then staff can look to see how we can support those. So yeah, thank you for all that input.
Okay. Is there any other like input or anything that anyone would like to add to this? Okay.
Yeah, we'll do public comment.
Oh yeah, and then there's your public comment for this item. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak on this? Okay, is there anyone online?
I do want to know, our recreation staff have been assigned to help facilitate some of the meetings because the subcommittees have not been meeting. And so those subcommittee members may have received text messages from our staff just to see when we can coordinate. So it would be really helpful for you guys to actually meet. That way, during this time of the meeting, you guys can give an update to the Youth Commission versus then having an open platform to discuss. So take a look at your phones, take a look at when those meetings are scheduled so that you guys can actually share your input during that time. And then that subcommittee can then report back to the entire Youth Commission on what you guys have discussed or options that we've been able to implement at the Teen Center or through the Communications Committee.
Okay. Okay. Okay, and then with that, is there anyone online or any e-comments? Okay, and then we'll move, so with that, if there's nothing else that anyone wants to add, then we'll move on to item J4, which is the staff liaison report.
Okay, I just have a few items to update you with. We do have some exciting news. Our teen center does have a social media club. And so we do have obviously our communications subcommittee. And so we are looking to do some collaboration between the two groups. So the social media club at the teen center is just focused on the teen center activities. Communications subcommittee here obviously is more citywide, so just know that there may be some crossover, but both groups have kind of different tasks that they can look at. But it would be great if there could be some collaboration. So as that communications subcommittee begins meeting, just know that there will be some opportunities, hopefully, for you all to see if there's things you guys can do together. The social media club did actually just post, they actually produced and posted their first video. I hope you all have seen it. It's been posted on the Teen Center Instagram page. So we'll hopefully more of those will be coming soon. Really looking to get more interaction there. Our Teen Center team has also been working really hard through a collaboration with the School to Career program, and they are coordinating free tutoring from high school students at the Teen Center. And so there will be some more information coming out on that, but that's another really good collaborative program that we're working on through our local schools as well. So that will begin the week of March 23rd. So we're really excited for that as well. So that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, I have a quick question about the report. Do we have any statistics on like how many people attend like teen center events or how many people go to the teen center?
We do keep that data. I don't know. We don't have any of the data on us right now, but we can certainly provide that at upcoming meetings.
Okay.
Yeah. We did hit a record in February. There was a day where we had 92 teens that attended in one day at the teen center. So attendance has been high, but it fluctuates. We do get really busy on non-school days as well. And obviously when we have the food options where we do like a nacho bar, we've done ramen bars, we've done smoothie bars, or any kind of food offering, we definitely see an uptick in attendance there too.
Thanks.
Okay, do we have to do public comment on this?
No, not on that one.
Okay. So then we'll move on to item K, which is commission member items and future commission agenda topics. And so is there anything that anyone wants to like bring up here at all?
I'm sorry, I had one more question on the teen center. What's the age demographic that's usually coming? Is it like middle school or high school? Just so like for social media stuff, like, to market to.
It's a collab. It's both middle school and high school, but we see more attendance from the middle schoolers. We are hoping that with the Teen Center event subcommittee, we'll be able to target some potential special socials that we can do quarterly, whether they're at the Teen Center or other locations around the city. So we're really leaning on the feedback of the Teen Center event subcommittee that you guys have here with the Youth Commission to target some more attendance from the high schoolers.
Okay, and then with that, is there anything else that anyone wants to add for like future agenda topics or any other items? Okay, and then we don't have to have public comment, right? Okay. And so then with that, I'll move on to adjourn this meeting. So is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Thought this
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, this meeting's adjourned.